The action will soon be fast and furious here in Atlanta as 43 of the world's finest stock car drivers get buckled up and set the wage war for 300 miles on the high banks of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coming up next, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Busch Light 300. After 3 starts in the 28-race, $6.5 million Busch Grand National Tour, take a look at the point standings. 2 Winston Cup regulars, Harry Labonte and Harry Gant in the top 5. But they won't run the entire year. Young Hermie Sadler, last year's Rookie of the Year, looks to be the man to beat when it comes to the championship. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch. It's hard to believe this Busch Tour could get any more competitive than it was a year ago. 13 different winners. In fact, 3 different winners in the first 3 events of 1994. But the racing is competitive. But how about the qualifying? They came here to Atlanta, 59 cars, tried to make a 43-car field. A lot of good drivers went home. In fact, 2 of our top 6 in points struggled. For more, here's John Kernan.
Jerry struggling and scrambling to try and find a ride. Now, Sterling Marlin normally drives this car on the Busch circuit, but he gave up his ride today so that Hermie Sadler, who he said the man to beat right now in the Busch Series, would be able to start the race and earn some valuable points toward the driving championship. And Hermie, it's not your own car, but hey, you struggled yesterday, you scrambled, and you do have a ride now.
Yeah, yesterday was probably one of the more disappointing days of my life. You know, we came here and ran hard and did the best we could. We just, Virginians for Lovers car, we just had trouble getting it in the field. But, you know, if you want to win a championship, that's what we're all involved want to do. And just thank God that I've got good friends like Chevrolet and Kodak and Fred Turner and Sterling Marlin, who gave up his car for me. And took a lot of people's okay to get this thing done. And we want to take this car to the front today and be back in Barnesville next week with the Virginians for Lovers car and continue our points championship chase.
Hermie Sadler will start in the 4 car today. Elton Sawyer will start in Mike Law's car. So some major developments here at Atlanta this weekend and some big surprises. Right, Kyle?
Yes, things are definitely changing in Busch Grand National Racing. The top 10 used to be dominated by Winston Cup drivers. The surprise this week, there's only 3 Winston Cup drivers in the top 10. Another surprise, there's 3 rookies in the top 10. But I think the biggest surprise of all is the car that's sitting on the pole. This could be the only other driver in NASCAR racing with a ponytail and an earring just like me. Yeah. I know you're looking forward to some big things. You sat on the outside pole at Rockingham. Here you are on the pole at Atlanta, possibly the biggest race of your career, starting up front. What do you think about things? Are you looking forward to it? Are you excited? Are you confident with yourself?
Every one of those things, Kyle. I'm extremely excited and definitely looking forward to it. We're going to, you know, if the car feels good, I'm going for it and use my head, drive a smart race. But, you know, I'm going to try to keep her up front all day long. The Polaroid car should be real good for us today.
Well, she's run good in the past. She run good at Rockingham. She run good last week at Richmond, and I know she's looking forward to this race. Back to you, Benny.
Kyle Petty in Daytona, I said, who is going to step forward in 1994 and be the hero? Because most of the winners, 22 of the 28 races last year were won by either Winston Cup drivers or Busch drivers that moved up to the Winston Cup in 1994. Who's going to move up to the plate? No one so far. All 3 races have been won by Winston Cup drivers, so the jury is still out. A guy who did use the Busch Grand National to move up to Winston Cup, Brett Bodine, you had to use the Busch to get to Winston Cup.
No question, Benny. You know, to run good on Saturday means so much to impress these Winston Cup car owners to try to get a ride on Sunday. You know, I was fortunate I made it in the Winston Cup, and it was all because of my performances on Saturday.
But today, 1994, it's even harder than it was in 85, 86.
No question. Competition is much steeper. The teams are more well-financed. Just today, the top 10 drivers in this race are from 10 different states. That shows what the Grand National Division has done as far as going national rather than regional.
It is going to be exciting.
Indeed it is, fellas. 43 cars trying to impress us for 300 miles today. Our Speed Love coverage today is being brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. By Mint and Speed Stick deodorant and Speed Stick antiperspirant, the #1 for movers and shakers. By Purelator. Legends live on Purelator. And by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. We'll be back with Atlanta Motor Speedway and the starting lineup, all 43 of them, and look at this mile-and-a-half racetrack in just a moment. Stay with us.
You can compare the new Suzuki RF to a lot of things. their motorcycle isn't one of them.
Don't miss Suzuki's truly moving, dealing days.
Sure, you've got a car, got a dog, even got some fun-loving friends. But have you got what it takes to be a mountain man? All it really takes are the two cool beers of the mountain man. Smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
For this guy, any deodorant will do. But these guys need Speed Stick. Antiperspirant that gives 110%, even if you don't. 24-hour protection against wetness. And now Speed Stick deodorant has a powerful new formula to fight odor. Speed Stick. For movers and shakers, the #1, the only one.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, getting set for the Busch Light 300 here. Beautiful 1.5-mile facility here in Hampton, Georgia, about 25 miles south of downtown Atlanta. And you can take a look, fans. No snow this weekend. The blizzard of '93 did not return a year later, thankfully. And we had just a gorgeous day for the fans and the competitors. Take a look at this racetrack here. It is a true oval, one of the very few true ovals in the country today that the NASCAR cars compete on. 1.522 miles in length. The front stretch, 1/4 of a mile. The back stretch, 1/4 of a mile. The degree of banking, 5 degrees in the straightaways and 24 degrees in the turns.
And what that says, Jerry, is each turn is a 1/2 mile long because this is a 1.5-mile racetrack.
A lot of corners here. Very, very tough on the driver and the equipment.
Take a look at our Suzuki motorcycle starting grid. There's Shauna Robinson making history today, the first woman ever to start on the pole for a NASCAR Busch Grand National Series event, a brand new track record, and she starts alongside the 1992 Series champion Joe Nemechek. Back in row 2, good effort by Mike Wallace, who won the ARCA 200 in Daytona, right here on ESPN, of course, and Mike looking to get a win here at Atlanta. Randy Porter, a rookie driver, good effort for him. He starts 4th. Michael Waltrip starts in 5th spot, only 3 laps of practice. He qualified 5th. Another rookie driver, only his 2nd ever start, Dirk Stevens, will start 6th. Back to row 4, Ernie Irvin, car number 28, looking to get a win here in Atlanta. Will start inside row 4, and Mark Martin, an incredible 7 wins a year ago in this race car. He starts 8th. Rookie driver Mike Garvey from the All-Pro ranks will start inside of row 5, and Robert Presley, look for him to be awfully tough today. He's a regular on the series. He starts in 10th place.
Row 6, Jason Keller, another rookie, and Kenny Wallace in the TIC Financial car might be one of the guys to step up in 1994. Row 7, Dale Jarrett, the winner of the Daytona 500 in 1993, and Johnny Benson, another rookie out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Ronald Cooper out of Georgia back in row 8, and my brother, Phil Parsons, on the outside in number 29. Jim Bowden in the inside of the 9th row, and Dale Earnhardt, the GM Goodrich car, on the outside. Look for that guy to go to the front. Kirk Schummerdine, his old mechanic of about 6 years, starts back at Earnhardt in row 10 alongside Chad Little, a young man who's running the entire circuit this year on the Busch Grand National.
Elton Sawyer now driving the backup car for Mike Law. Sawyer did not qualify. He's 6th in the points. You heard John Curtis mention that. Sawyer will start inside row 11. And Tim Fedua, another rookie driver, will start alongside him and outside. Harry Gant, a multi-winner in Busch Grand National competition, went winless a year ago, trying to pick up a win here in 1994. And Randy LaJoie, awfully good runs last year, 2 second-place finishes in Busch. Rich Bickle will start the car number 98 inside row 13. And the 1992 SCCA Trans Am champion Jack Baldwin makes his Busch Grand National debut at Atlanta. He should be strong. Joe Bessie, a young man who's had terrible luck here in this year and the end of last year, trying to get a sponsor and a win. And Roy Payne, a former ARCA Rookie of the Year. Tom Peck in the car number 31 will start inside row 15. And Richard Petty's owned car, that's the 43 that Petty owns for Rodney Combs, will start 30.
In row 16, we find Randy McDonald out of Canada, and Hermie Sadler, we interviewed him just a moment ago. He's out of Virginia driving the number 4 car. In row 17, Tracy Leslie out of Michigan, and Doug Havron out of Syracuse, New York in the number 75. Row 18, Richard Lassiter out of California, and Bobby Labonte out of Texas. And that's in the Carl Wagner owned car. Row 19, Terry Labonte, his brother, and Dennis Setzer. Back in row 20, Ricky Craven, one of the provisional starters. David Green also. That is Bobby Labonte's car that David Green drives. He's a provisional starter. Row 21, Bobby Daughter and Mike McLaughlin, 2 provisional starters. And Larry Pearson back in row 22. He is a former Busch Series champion. He took the Busch Series champions provision.
And, of course, Larry Pearson, a 2-time series champion, as you mentioned. The last 2 weeks in a row, he had to take a provisional to get in the starting lineup.
Well, Larry Pearson's a tough competitor. I'll tell you, I know for firsthand, he outran me both years that I ran for the championship. He won the championship. I finished second both times to him. Larry, you know, he's struggling. They haven't had a real good qualifying with this car, but they're capable of getting to the front. I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the most competitive fields I've ever seen in a Busch Series race.
We talked about competition just to qualify, Brett. 59 cars tried to qualify. 62 were in the garage. Take a look at who's out of here. Who didn't make it in the field? Some names like Morgan Shepherd. Man, does he run well here. Won the Winston Cup race here a year ago. Kenny Schrader. Andy Hillenberg has had some good runs in Busch racing. Tommy Houston stayed home. Now, Tommy had run 360 consecutive Busch Series events, had never missed one in 13 years, did not have a sponsor, missed the race at Richmond, and did not come to Atlanta. Tommy will hopefully be back when we come back on the air at Darlington in a couple of weeks. And here's a young man who is coming back to Busch Series racing, Elton Sawyer, driving a backup car.
And he came down pit road. I don't know why he did that, but he did. He had to go to the back of the field anyway because they did change drivers. Elton Sawyer, this car was qualified by Mike Laws out of Orlando. Elton Sawyer's going to drive the car, so he had to go to the back of the field along with Hermie Sadler because they changed drivers. And Kurt Shelmerdine crashed in practice on Saturday. He has to go to the rear of the field. John Kernan?
Well, Benny, the Mike Laws car crashed. He crashed it yesterday morning, so this is actually Elton Sawyer's original car, but they've been having motor problems. They put in their 4th motor this weekend. They had to go to Hubert Hensley's team and borrow a motor for today's race.
As we get set for green flag racing, the voices you're hearing are Kyle Petty and John Kernan in the pits. Yes, Kyle Petty's a pit announcer today. Brett Bodine, another Winston Cup driver, in the booth with Benny Parsons, and yours truly, Jerry Pudge. Glad to have you with us as the Busch cars come down and Carl Simmons waves the green flag. History is made. Shauna Robinson becomes the first young lady to win the pole in Busch Series competition, and she leads the charge in the turns 1 and 2.
She's running tough on that inside line. I'll tell you, she really wants to do well today. She's very motivated to go out there
They go 3 wide in turn 3. Benny Parsons, Mike Wallace.
Oh, crash! Looks like that Mike Wallace is going to lead the lap, and Shauna Robinson did not. She crashes, doesn't come back around, does not complete that first lap. They went in the corner 3 abreast.
Oh, that's hard to do, Brett. Now 3 wide. Shauna Robinson sees a car beneath her, is trying to get there. She sees Shauna trying to get her car refired, trying to give Mike Wallace some room, but it's tough up there. She moves up to give Wallace some room, and then suddenly there's no room.
This looks like a wide race. The groove is very narrow as we see the 3 cars try to get into the 3rd turn together. Mike Wallace and Shauna get together first. That ricochets Shauna up into Joe Nemechek. And then those 2 drivers are just trying to keep their car away from the rest of the competitors. It was just a situation there wasn't enough room for 3 cars to get in there.
And that was the very first lap from that in competition on that black car on the outside. That's 87 Nemechek, a brand new race car, Brett. That was the first lap of competition into the wall. And watch, I tell you, these guys behind do a fabulous job. We could have had a 20-car pileup easily.
Joe Nemechek trying to get his car back to the pit area and try to get it repaired so he can get back out.
Let's check in with John Kernan, who's standing by in the Shauna Robinson pit. John?
Jerry Terry Allen, the crew chief, surveying the damage. You can see the nose. It's been kind of pushed inside. The hood is pushed up. It doesn't look like there's any frame damage. The wheels still seem to be in line. It's just a lot of sheet metal damage, and they're trying to pull away some of that right front fender as the pace car goes by. Shauna will lose a lap right here in the pits, and the work will continue. They're going to try and get her back out. It looks right now that the car is in pretty good shape, other than a lot of sheet metal damage in the front.
Well, we have caution here early on. Didn't even complete a whole lap here at Atlanta. We told you the action would be fast and furious, and indeed it is. Caution for the first time today. Back with more of the Busch Light 300 after this.
People ask me to endorse the strangest things. A green recliner? Not much of a sitter. I like going fast. 68 Shelby, and there's only about 300 and some odd made. This car rips. Pure oil now. Keeping them up's half the fun. They all get Pure Later filters. Pure oil later. I snag them from the track. Legends live. Pure Later. Pure Later.
If you want to know why most NASCAR teams use a Sears Die-Hard battery, just ask a guy who didn't use a Die-Hard. Die-Hard, the official battery of NASCAR. For more power when you need it most.
Lou, I'm in trouble. I need a good catcher and a 300 hitter.
Tom, where's the merger contract?
The deal can wait. I need a starter.
Rotisserie players are desperate for that information edge. I'm Keith Olbermann. Find out who the experts pick as this year's top values. Before you draft, it's Baseball Tonight's great rotisserie pay-per-view special.
Don't tell me Bill needs home runs. I say he needs stolen bases.
Rotisserie players, call your cable company now to order this great pay-per-view event.
Back in Atlanta, 3 laps complete of 197. That's a top 5. We're under caution here. Didn't even make a lap, as you see our pole sitter, the Polaroid Chevrolet of Shauna Robinson, her car getting worked on. Now, here's what happened here a moment ago.
You see Shauna in the middle there. It looks like she just lost traction with the car. She entered the corner. The car did a little bit of a wiggle, and she got into the side of Joe Nemechek. Just really a tough break for her. She saw that Mike Wallace was making a move on the inside. I think she just gave him a little bit too much room and got so close to Joe Nemechek, the air off of his car disturbed hers. She lost the back of the car.
At the drivers' meeting this morning, Ron Pegram, who's the minister that follows the Busch Series, he said he prayed for patience. Hey, Ron, they didn't listen to you very well.
No, they didn't. Didn't even make it a whole lap. And there is Joe Nemechek's Bell South Mobility Chevrolet. And as you said, Benny Parsons, a brand new car. By the way, we want to tell the folks watching at home, that was not a cameraman standing there by the wall. That was a remote-controlled robotic camera we have there in turn 4, who got that great shot of what happened here in the first caution of the day. Once again, Carl Simmons' right arm gets a workout as he waves the green flag. And caution lasted 3 laps. Restart here on lap 5. Up front, Mike Wallace, man who won the ARCA 200 at Daytona, the initial race of the 1994 season on ESPN, trying to get another win on the speedways, this time in Busch Series competition.
Ernie Irvin in the yellow and white car on the inside. The Mac 2's car took a look on the inside of Michael Waltrip, could make it. And there's Mark Martin you talked about. Started back in about 8th spot, has moved up to the 3rd spot already. Robert Preston in black 99 on the outside of Ernie Irvin. It takes over 4th spot.
We see already how important being able to run that high line. There's Mark Martin looking to the outside of Michael Waltrip. These V6 engines need a little bit more momentum as they exit the corner. If a car runs low, it bogs it down. The guys in the outside lane can motor on by. We saw that shot of Ernie Irvin trying to go to 2nd. He's all the way back to 5th.
And a couple of Winston Cup regulars began to pursue Mike Wallace. He's got a Mike on the inside. It's Waltrip, and he's got Mark on the outside. And now they fall back in single file. So it is Mike, Mark, Mike, and Robert. Those are the top 4 right now. And it looks like Mark Martin's not going to waste any time with the Winn-Dixie Ford trying to take the lead.
He's really got that car hooked up in the outside lane. He's gone by everybody on the outside, made it look awful easy, as he does so many times in this Busch Grand National Division.
We mentioned there were 13 winners a year ago. Mark Martin won won 7 of the races. Every race he finished, he won. That tells you how tough that car was in '93.
Looks like Mike Waltrip and Robert Presley went to school with Mark Martin. They both passed Mike Wallace on the outside. They found that outside lane a little bit more to their liking.
And here's a guy who's on the move, Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator. What a story. At Richmond, Virginia, Earnhardt, for the first time in 579 attempts, did not qualify for a NASCAR race. He came back to Atlanta with a vengeance and is now trying to make his way toward the front, being shown back, what, in about 17th spot right now.
He's trying to get by Randy Porter. That's Randy in the 35 car. And Earnhardt makes that pass. You ever see Jason Keller on the inside of Ernie Irvin and makes the pass? And he made the pass on the inside of it. Pretty impressive.
Yes, very strong. It looks like he's got a car that's working well on the low lane. Here comes Dale Jarrett down the inside of Ernie Irvin, and it looks like he's going to get the spot also.
Ernie Irvin not having a car handling very well for him. Actually, the car he owns, the Mac Tool sponsored Ford, as Dale Jarrett brings the Shoe World Chevrolet toward the front. What a great run Jarrett had in Daytona on ESPN, finishing second to Earnhardt. And while we were watching the action in the back, we had action up front. And Benny Parsons, we got a new leader.
Michael Waltrip. Hey, I tell you what, Mark Martin in that Winn-Dixie Ford doesn't get passed very often. But watch this. Wow!
It looked like Mark got in the corner just a little too deep and realized he needed to check up and reevaluate his group. And Michael just went on by.
Well, Mark back. Exactly. Mark tries to make a move back on the inside. Looked like he just decided, I think I'll just take a yawn for a moment and back off the throttle, and Michael went around him. Now Mark makes it look easy. Looks like they're having some fun out there.
Well, let me tell you, a Busch Grand National car is a lot of fun to drive compared to a Winston Cup car. These guys come out here on Saturday and have a blast racing these cars. They're so much lighter, so under horsepower, you can just really manhandle them and have a good time with them.
Having a blast at 175, 80 miles an hour. Is that a blast?
Sounds like my way to spend the Saturday afternoon.
3,200-pound cars as opposed to 3,500-pound Winston Cup cars that'll run tomorrow here in Atlanta. And, of course, V6 engines versus that push about 490 horsepower versus a V8, which is what, over almost 700?
720 in most of the cars today. And it just makes it a lot easier for the driver to drive the car and get him around here and make the maneuvers and the passes. It's just a lot of fun to drive.
There's Earnhardt going by Ronald Cooper in the 56. He's up behind Kenny Wallace. Bill Parsons is trying to follow Earnhardt through the traffic. The black and yellow cars, Ronald Cooper, Johnny Cotton. And Mike Wallace has dropped back to this group. See the 9 car, the FDP brakes car that led that first lap, has dropped all the way back to this spot.
Ernie Irvin and Mike Wallace both have dropped back to this group, and you know, looks like Bill Parsons got an awful good handling race car. He just dropped to the bottom of the racetrack, drove up the inside of Kenny Wallace, and ran on by. He's following Ronald Cooper right to the front.
And what a run Phil Parsons had a year ago at Michigan. Boy, was he impressive in a Busch car his own. That's the Matchbox collectibles machines. We got a battle back up front for third spot. Jason Keller. What an impressive run for the 24-year-old driver. That's him in the 57 car right behind Robert Presley in an unsponsored car number 99.
Jason really got up close to Robert right there. It looks like it upset his car a little bit coming off the corner. Robert had to check up. Jason just going into 3 on the inside. What a real strong race car he's driving.
Jason Keller, 24 years of age, a former All-Pro Rookie of the Year back in 1990. Finished third in the point standings in 1991. Ran a limited schedule last year here in Busch Series competition. And here's Kenny Wallace, Benny, who's slowing down.
Off the pace. Looks like he's got some kind of engine problem or ignition problem, something like that. Thing looks like it's dead in the water, and a guy I thought maybe might be able to step up the plate in 94, having problems already. Another guy who thought he was going to win today, Joe Nemechek, is with Kyle Petty as we have a pass for the lead.
Joe, you started on the outside pole. You won last week. You're coming off a big high. What did it look like? You were between a rock and a hard place. What did it look like from your angle?
I got caught up in it, and you know, I'm gonna speak my mind right now. You know, before the race, some people came down and told me what Mike Wallace was going to do. He was going to get up under Shauna and get her loose at the start of the race, and he did just what he said. And Shauna got loose and took me out with it, and it's wrong. You know, we have Bell South and Cintas on our cars, brand new people trying to get into the sport, and it looks terrible. The first lap, we're in the wall, and You know, it's wrong. I think NASCAR should penalize Mike Wallace. I mean, he did intentionally got Shauna loose. And we've been having these big powwows, you know, hey, we're supposed to be safe drivers, looking out for each other. Well, that wasn't too safe, and I think he could have injured a lot of people, including myself and Shauna and the rest of the field. And, you know, it's just a tough day. We'll be back. We'll be ready for Winston Cup tomorrow.
That's Joe Nemechek, Benny.
He did speak his piece, didn't he?
I wonder if Joe would have an opinion.
Couple of cars. Ernie Irvin is involved. The 75 of Doug Hevron. Charlie Henderson's car. Here comes the car sliding through at 170 miles per hour. That's the car number 95 that has come to rest back there. That is Jack Baldwin, the Marietta, Georgia driver. Hevron gets going. Here's as you see the roof flap on the Hevron car, the roof flaps once again doing their job, kept those cars spun backwards on the ground. And Brett, that has got to be a comfort for the driver.
It really is. I'll tell you, you know, we were so impressed with the spins at Daytona, the cars, the flaps coming up. Here's a replay of what happened. The pack of cars, Doug Hevron leading that pack, gets loose outside of Rodney Combs in front of that pack of cars, and Ernie and the rest of the guys, really no place to go. Did a great job getting by.
I don't think anybody hit anything. Now, there we see Jack Baldwin spin through, but I don't think anyone hit anything. This is amazing.
Did you see the flaps come up on the 28 car? I noticed the ones on the 75, but his flap, his right outside flap is still up a little bit on that car, 75, the Food Country car. But the 28 car got backwards, and both flaps popped up and stayed up until the car moved back around, and they came back in a normal position.
A tremendous added comfort zone for the drivers, and knowing the cars won't lift up.
Working the second caution flag of the day due to a 3-car incident coming out of turn 2. Back with more of the Busch Light 300 from Atlanta Motor Speedway after this.
Some radio stations think you want to hear the same rock and roll over and over and over and over. At 95.5 KLOS, we know you want a big variety of your favorite classics, plus only the best new rock. KLOS with Mark and Brian in the mornings. Great rock and roll all day and night. 95.5 KLOS. For 25 years, Southern California's home of rock and roll.
I just bought a new Toyota Camry, and I love it. Yeah, maybe I could have found a car that cost a little less. But I did my homework, and according to the Complete Car Cost Guide, when it comes to overall cost of ownership, the Camry is one of the best values on the road today. The fact is, when you consider things like mileage, insurance, and resale value, my Toyota, it's really going to cost me less.
We give you more for your money.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
Track Facts are brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
Several years ago, NASCAR mandated that all cars, both Winston Cup and Busch Grand National, would have to run a window in the right side at Daytona and Talladega. This is an aid to keep the car on the ground in case of a spin-out. Well, since then, NASCAR has reviewed and decided, hey, all racetracks above 1 mile need this window. Now, the question is, if the car is spun up against the outside retaining wall or another car, how does the driver get out? We're in Andy Hillenberg's Budget Gourmet shop in his Chevrolet. He's sitting in there. Hey, Andy, can you get out this window?
Yeah, Benny.
All right, show me how.
We'll get the steering wheel off first and start heading in that direction. Then we have a seat belt here to hold the window in place. Hit the latch, pull it back, let it slide out there, and just start crawling.
Well, come on, Andy. The thing might be on fire. I'm glad so you can get out of there.
Yeah, I might have to lose another couple pounds.
Now, I was waiting to see if you were going to get out of that window, BP.
There's not a way in this world I can get in that window, much less out of that window.
Let's take a look at our pit stop summary. In first, out first, can't beat that, but that was fuel only, as you heard John Kernan say. Jason Keller, a new crew, a young crew, came in second, out sixth. Michael Waltrip, third and third. Gant, fourth and fourth. And Ronald Cooper, just coming back with a new crew, had trouble in the pits. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, I talked with Steve Neal, who Mark Martin's crew chief. He's been busy running up and down pit road, checking all the guys who changed their Goodyear tires. He's seeing not a lot of wear. In fact, they, from their fastest lap to some of their slowest laps without traffic involved, they had only lost about 1/10 to 2/10 of a second. Mark said, let's not change tires, let's not do anything to the car right now. And Steve told me, hey, there's 150 laps left. Yeah, I'm going to save another set of tires to use under caution if I get the chance.
And just as you said, Brett Bodine, they're going to save those tires. The rules are meant to try to minimize the cost in this series. And NASCAR very wisely said, let's going to have just 2 sets of tires, or 8 tires total under caution. And as you said, they've made the call to save them for later.
There's a perfect example. Those guys, this rule just saved Jack Roush the price of a set of tires. If there had been no rule, they would have definitely put 4 tires out, but because they could only put 2 on the yellow, they're gonna save them for the end of the race.
And a set of tires, we're not talking about $300, folks. We're talking about $1,200 for 4 tires. They're $300 apiece.
But Jack is one of the guys that probably could afford another set down there. Not that he's trying to be cheap, he's just being smart, as you heard John Kernan and Steve Mill talking about a moment ago. That's the car that Jack owns. That's the car that's leading the race right there. The car number 60, the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird. Mark Martin, 7 times he went to victory lane in 1993. Every time that car finished, it won. This year, Mark Martin came close to winning at Daytona with just a few laps to go. He had a problem with the engine, and he parked it. He's trying to pick up his first win of 1994. Back to Green Flag Racing, lap 52.
Look at Dale Earnhardt. Made a pit stop and moved up to 2nd spot. And I don't know if he changed tires or not. I didn't watch. He might have something for Martin.
Coming up to speed, laps averaging over 170 miles per hour. And just as you said, Benny Parsons, Earnhardt is staying right there, a couple of car lengths back. It is Martin, Earnhardt, Waltrip, and Gant.
Before the caution, we saw that trouble keeping the car low on the racetrack. We'll see if the adjustments they might have made during the pit stop lets him keep the car closer to the bottom of the racetrack. So far, it's working for him. He's right out of Mark Martin's goal.
We know that Michael Waltrip changed 4 tires. We watched that and heard Kyle Petty report that.
Remember, Dale Earnhardt started back in 18th position. Now, just after lap 50, he has moved to 2nd spot by virtue of some great pit work and some aggressive driving. Earnhardt wouldn't be aggressive, would he, on the racetrack? There's Dale Jarrett in the right of your screen. That's the Pick and Pay Shoe World Chevrolet. He begins to make his way toward the front. Bobby Labonte, what a good job he's done. We mentioned earlier, starting back in the pack, bringing the car number 33. He's being shown in 7th position.
Here's Earnhardt closing up right on the back bumper of Mark Martin, and Michael Waltrip trying to pass Earnhardt going in the 3rd corner, so Mark might want those tires. He may wish, oh boy, why didn't I change those tires? We'll see. Here comes Earnhardt. Yes, sir. Michael Waltrip follows. And Harry Gant. That was very similar to that problem Mark had early in the race.
Certainly made his way to the front in a hurry. Earnhardt, the new leader here in Atlanta. Let's check in with Kyle Petty.
You talked about Mark Martin not changing any tires, and we talked about Michael Waltrip changing 4 tires. Dale Earnhardt made a chassis adjustment and only changed 2 tires. And it seems like his car seems to be working best, Benny.
Gotcha.
No question, his chassis adjustment really worked well for him because that's the best his car's looked all day.
Good run for Joe Bessie in the car number 97. Here's a young man that nearly won this race at Atlanta last November. Came close to winning last week at Richmond. Was leading the race and the car spun and he tagged the car and wiped out to the car he had up there. He's hanging with him in the top 5.
Him and Jason Keller are just out of the front pack, but I got a feeling they're going to catch up here just a little while.
We've got a car in the wall coming off the 4th corner.
Heavy impact in the outside wall with the car number 05. That's Randy McDonald, the Canadian driver. As you see the sheet metal damage on the right side of that car, he sort of flattened it like someone just took a big waffle iron and pushed down on the right side of the car. Still as yet, no caution flag from Carl Simmons as McDonald's car is down out of the groove.
He's not going to make it back, though. I don't think the car, well, maybe he pulls off down toward the wrecker, so maybe they will get him through the infield back.
That's the Curtis Key Motorsports Chevrolet, the 1993 ASA Rookie of the Year. Randy McDonald having trouble here on lap 56.
And we see the Mark Martin is falling back. Again, he has saved the tires, but if the caution flag shouldn't come out, we can see he's all the way back in 6th spot, just loses that to Bobby Labonte, back to 7th right now. So he needs a caution flag 20, 30 laps from now to be able to make that move pay off for him.
Got to wonder with as much of this racetrack as we showed you that's in the corners, fresh tires make a big difference. Caution flag now being shown for the 4th time today. Caution being waved by Carl Simmons. There's Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip. Gant. This will definitely help Mark Martin, whose car was dropping off the pace. Back with more from Atlanta Motor Speedway as we're under caution after this.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
Electric Start Suzuki Dual Sport 650, 350, 250, and brand new 125. No other line has a wider range.
Don't miss Suzuki's truly moving, dealing days.
How to identify the mountain man. Should be easy. I mean, doesn't a mountain man only live in really cold climates? Always go to bed when the sun sets? Wear a cowboy hat at all times? Actually, the easiest way to identify a mountain man is by his beer. Smooth Busch beer, or easy drinking Busch Light, the 2 cool beers of the mountain man. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
After 83 of 197 laps, Harry Gant's our leader, Dale Earnhardt, Joe Bessie, a great run in 3rd spot, Michael Waltrip is 4th, and Bobby Labonte in 5th. And heavy impact, Roy Payne in the car number 27 has tagged the wall. The former ARCA Rookie of the Year, his 2nd season in Busch Grand National Racing, has hit the wall a ton, as they say in NASCAR racing, over in the turn 3. Michael Waltrip was slowing down. Hopefully he just saw the crash happening, but there's no problem with his car.
Let's watch and replay and see if we can figure out what happened to Roy Payne. Here he goes down in the corner. No problem. And he just loses control. That car on the outside, Tim Fedewa. Ooh, Manny backed in there real hard. Tim Fedewa, the white 55, was on the outside, and when you go in the corner and the car on the outside of you, just that cushion of air, it takes it away and makes the cars go around a little bit easier.
There's an electrical fire. Apparently, Michael is waving. You see him waving at the window. Apparently, he's got a problem with the car. The car is still very, very slow, and he's waving. So apparently, Brett, in the driver's meeting, the drivers are taught to wave your arm and signal people.
Well, I think what Michael's doing is he's worried he's not going to make it back to the pits. He wants someone to pull up behind him and give him a push.
So Michael was trying to take his left hand and say, come, give me a push. Let's check in with Kyle Petty.
Well, Michael had radioed his pits and said he has an electrical fire. So if he's got an electrical fire, there's some smoke in there, it's stinking, he's wanting to get out of the car, he's wanting to stop. But he was wanting to get some help to get back around here so maybe they can fix the thing, switch over to the 2nd ignition if too much does not burn up, and head back out again, Benny.
Well, I don't see a lot of smoke in the car, so maybe it's not too bad inside it. If we saw a bunch of smoke inside an electrical fire, believe me, he would stop that car over there and get out, because Kyle Petty, you're right, you could not stand the smell. You ever see now they've decided to change 4 tires on that Winn-Dixie car now. We see them in the pits, right side's on, left side's being put on right now. The left front's finished. Steve Meal is done with his job. The left rear guy gets done. Car goes down and away he goes. So he finally used that set of tires. So we can expect to see that 60 car go back to the front. And it looks like, is he going to make it, Jerry?
Well, he's trying. He's just now rolling into the entrance of pit road up in turn 4, and he's pitting just past the start-finish line, so he's probably a good. And now the crew heads down that way. Ronnie Silver, the crew chief on the car, to try to give him a push. And as you heard Kyle Petty say, he has an electrical fire.
The car's outrunning them. They can't keep up.
But he is eventually going to slow. The car is now making its way up pit road, and the field now coming through turns 3 and 4, so Michael is going to be put at least another lap down as the Pennzoil Pontiac makes its way up and heads toward his pits.
I'm sorry to laugh at them guys, because I couldn't have run that far to save my life, but it was so fun to see the car go by them and they couldn't catch up.
We'll check on what happens in the Pennzoil pits when we come back, as we're under caution here in Atlanta for the 5th time today in the Busch Light 300. Back after this.
These cans. Wild Phil isn't here. He must be buried in the ground. Hey guys, look! That's Phil! Now save Amanda!
Finished off Wild Phil, now for Amanda.
There's too many of them, Wild Phil.
Wild Phil mulch can be used for just about anything.
Take a road trip to the college championships by scoring on the phone with ESPN's three-point shootout contest. 3 winners go to the College Slam Dunk and Three-Point Shooting Championship to compete for a legendary Nissan 300ZX. To enter, call 1-900-40-SHOOT. 95 cents per call, must be 18 or older, or send a postcard. No purchase or phone call necessary. Shoot to win with ESPN's Three-Point Shootout. Sponsored by Pizza Hut and Quaker State.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway under caution for the 5th time today as Michael Waltrip's car gets continued service on pit road. You heard Kyle Petty say a moment ago that Michael had an electrical fire. They're still working on the car. Now, earlier today, the first caution flag brought out on lap number 1. Watch the left of your screen. That's Shauna Robinson, the orange car in the middle. She gets crowded a little bit by Mike Wallace, gets up into Joe Nemechek. Nemechek and Shauna come together. Then they come in contact with the wall. Both those cars having pretty heavy damage. Nemechek having to park his car. And here's what's left of Shauna's Polaroid Chevrolet Lumina.
And that was the only 2 cars involved in that crash.
Our Sears diehard driver profile today is lovely 29-year-old Des Moines, Iowa native Shauna Robinson. It has certainly been a busy week for Shauna. Not only did she become the first female driver to win a pole in the history of the Busch Grand National Series, she set a brand new track record. And there's a look at Shauna Robinson with the Polaroid uniform on. Talking with the crew there, Terry Allen, her crew chief in that Chevrolet Lumina. Now, Shauna started up front today, but her rise to the top has been anything but easy. Right, Shauna?
Definitely been a struggle, but no better feeling than sitting on the pole here at Atlanta. But, you know, the past has been a tough situation, especially when it comes to people taking me serious as a race car driver and wondering if I can get the job done. And I've even questioned myself in that, but I think now that I have good equipment and an excellent crew chief and a team that, well, the team that wants me in their race car, then things are starting to happen.
Indeed they are, and what a nice young lady she is, and what a talented driver. I mean, not only
as we say all that, she's going to the garage area.
Certainly, that's a car that's owned by Ed Ferree, by the way, who ran some limited Busch Series events a year ago. Now, a moment ago, you saw the car number 30 in the pits, the Pennzoil Pontiac. Kyle Petty was standing by to give us a report on what they were doing. Kyle?
Michael said he was running down the straightaway, and he said he smelled the smoke, and he said he knew it was electrical. There's pieces of little copper wire laying all in the floorboard. It's burnt all the wiring out from under the dash. All the switches are burned up. They're trying to straight wire the car. It got so hot and so many sparks flew. It looks. Michael showed me a hole. He's got 2 holes in his socks where it burnt holes in his socks where his feet were. So it got awfully hot in there. He was wanting to get out of that car, Benny.
He was wanting to get out of there.
Now, Kyle, I got to ask you, Kyle, when that happens, I mean, is the first thought you had to hit the brakes and bail out? I mean, what do you think, or do you try to steer the car out of harm's way and then get out?
Well, I tell you what, with an electrical fire, you pretty much know it's an electrical fire. It's got a totally different smell than when the bearings go out or when you break a motor or something like that. The main thing you're concerned about is getting out of the way and getting out of harm's way and then slowing down. And if the flames continue, then you want to get out of the car. He said as soon as he cut the switch off and it cut all the power off, he reached around and cut the main power off the car, which the cars have one main power switch that cuts all power off. He reached around, cut that off, so he knew he was okay, and he was just trying to get back in here and get it fixed.
Thank you very much, Kyle. My question mark is, I bet those holes were in Michael's socks when he came to the track today, though. I don't know about that.
No, hey, he's got a new wife.
That's right. That's right.
He's dressing that boy well.
It's like Terry's dressing you and Joni's dressing me, and we got someone really nice there, Diane, dressing Mr. Brett Bodine here. Getting ready for green flag racing. That's Kyle Petty down in the pits along with John Kernan. The voices you hear up here are Benny Parsons and Brett Bodine, and yours truly, Jerry Punch. Speaking of John Kernan, let's check back in with him.
Well, you remember that great run that Chad Little had at Daytona where he also helped Dale Earnhardt get back into position? Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen for Chad today. He's running on only 5 cylinders. They think they've broken a rocker arm. They're going to try and nurse it the rest of the way. Now, Johnny Benson Jr. also running on only 5 cylinders. They think that was an ignition problem. Steve Bird and the crew have made some changes under the hood. He's been in and out of the pits, and they hope to have that problem corrected. But we're seeing a few more of these engine problems develop here on pit road.
Indeed, a tough break for after a great run in Daytona. Started dead last. He was the last car to make it in by qualifying. We're talking about Chad Little, and he ended up finishing 3rd behind Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett. Getting set for green flag racing. We are just 10 laps away from the halfway point. It'll be 150 miles complete, still 150 to go, as the pace car leads them now double file.
Dirk Stevens leading the race, qualified up in the top 10, fell back, has worked his way back to the front. He probably didn't stop this time and change tires. Harry Gant right behind him, Randy LaJoy. Dirk, how long can you stay there? We're going to find out, because the green flag is waving.
The 1993 Winston West Tour Rookie of the Year, Dirk Stevens, had not seen Atlanta Motor Speedway except on television until he got here on Thursday. Actually, he came last week and tested a few laps, but he is running only his 2nd Busch start ever. And boy, was he impressive at Richmond a week ago.
Down the back straightaway. Let's watch. That's a Ford that Dirk Stevens is driving.
Car he bought from Bill Elliott. And now Gant will take the move to the inside out of turn 4. Pulls up even with him and will have the lead as they come by to click off lap number 91.
That's Randy LaJoy on the inside of Dirk Stevens. Randy's just kind of been hanging around here all day. But he's got something saved up towards the end of the race.
And Terry Labonte has made a move underneath. There's Mark Martin trying to make his way back toward the front. You saw during those pit stops that Steve Mill and the crew gave him some fresh Goodyear rubber, so he's making his way toward the front. Dennis Setzer, the 59 car, is there. We saw Steve Mill's crew working on the Winn-Dixie Ford. John, what'd they do?
You know, Jerry, with the radial tires, what I've seen these teams do, instead of playing with the wedge bolts in the back of the car, jack and wedge, taking it out, what they do is they make pressure adjustments. Mark's car was running a little bit loose, so they made a little pressure adjustment in the tires, and they think that they will have that car right where it needs to be. And remember, they've still got 4 tires left to change under caution, and they can go a little further distance than some of these other teams who changed tires earlier.
Well, indeed, they make a slight adjustment. Brett, I'm told they make an adjustment down to a 1/4 pound of air pressure in the tire.
I'll tell you, a very small amount of air pressure can make a night and day difference in the way the car performs on the racetrack. The tire guy is really the main guy on Sunday when it comes to making adjustments.
Brett, who in the world tried that to begin with? I mean, 1 pound of air pressure. Come on. That seems so small, it would make no difference at all, but I know that it does because everyone is doing it.
Well, one thing that you have to understand is 1 pound of air pressure on cold tires, as those tires are run on the racetrack and they build up, that can change 3 or 4 pounds in the buildup. So consequently, it's the buildup pressure that you're really trying to adjust, not necessarily the initial pressure.
I got you. I follow you.
Good battle on the racetrack for second, third, and fourth. Randy LaJoie has the Chevrolet, the Fina Chevrolet, owned by Dick Moroso in second spot. Terry LaBonte coming from back in the pack. That's the car that won at Rockingham on the second stop on the 1994 Busch Tour. He is in third spot, and Joe Bessie, we keep mentioning Joe Bessie's name. The young man is driving the wheels off that Chevrolet. That's the car that got wrecked at Daytona, and they worked around the clock to put it together.
LaBonte taking over that second spot on the inside of LaJoie down in turn 1. The BMW Windows Chevrolet tries to take it away, but LaJoie won't let him.
Boy, was Randy LaJoie impressive a year ago on ESPN. He finished second at Talladega, second at Darlington. Had some great runs in that car. Plans on running 5 Winston Cup shows. Hangs on the outside. The car slips a little bit up in the same turn where we had that first caution flag today with Shauna and Nemechek and Mike Wallace. But now Terry Labonte makes the pass. We'll see if Bessie can make the move. But he is down on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like they're drafting back now. How important is the draft here, Brett?
Well, it definitely can help you out. There's no question that the straightaway speed can be increased if you stay in line. We'll see this happen. Joe Bessie was down on the bottom of the racetrack by himself after they fell single file, and now the outside lane is just driving by him.
We see Earnhardt's going by. Now Dale Jarrett is going to try to get by on the outside. We saw Mark Martin in the picture just a moment ago come into the pit. There's Mark Martin on the inside trying to get by.
It's Robert Presley down underneath Dale Jarrett. Now Mark Martin's going to try to jump underneath Dale.
He does it.
Well, Jarrett was making his way toward the front a moment ago, and suddenly his car just got very high in the turn about a half a lap ago. The car has developed a serious handling problem as he dives back in the corner. That's Terry Labonte, the MW Windows car you're watching there. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, all right together.
Mark Martin on the outside of Presley takes a spot away. As Joe Bessie, Earnhardt goes by LaJoie, takes a spot. Now Bessie going to try to follow Earnhardt.
That's for third, fourth, and fifth. Bessie takes the fourth spot. Here is Martin to take the fifth spot away from Randy LaJoie. Martin down on the bottom of the racetrack. And as Brett Bodine mentioned a moment ago, the draft not really helping Mark Martin right now, but he's got some horsepower. Trying to hold that bottom groove in turn 3.
Right there we see Mark Martin's new tires take effect. Right in the middle of the corner when you want to get back in that throttle, Mark was able to get in the throttle 2-3 car lengths sooner than Randy LaJoie and just drive right by him.
Talk about disappointment early today. Our pole sitter, a record setter, and a young lady who put her name in the history book. Shauna Robinson is standing by with Kyle Petty.
Yeah, Shauna, you made history. You sat on the pole. You had some high expectations, and you got in that first lap accident. And I'm going to have to tell you up front that Joe Nemechek absolutely blasted Mike Wallace on the deal. What did you see? You were kind of sandwiched in between them. What happened?
Oh, I was definitely in between them. I knew Joe was on the right. My spotter just said you got a car coming on the inside. And I held my line, and he flat turned right into my car. There's a big dent right on the right side to prove it. You know, it just shows what kind of class somebody has out there. And there was a statement made before the race that he said he was going to do that. And, you know, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. But if he thinks that that was going to benefit him, I think he's got another thing coming. You know, we had a good race car out here, and I'm working hard to get where I am. And if somebody just can't take the fact that a woman's in racing and he thinks he's going to do something like that, I'm not walking away. So we've got a lot more races this year. And, you know, I'm never going to trash anybody on TV. You know, we're all race car drivers, but, you know, I think that the class shows, and we're seeing it right now.
Well, there you have it. You can see she's upset, but she's still got a smile on her face, Benny.
Boy, she is a fireball, and that's why she's such a good competitor and a great race car driver. Not only is she gorgeous, she has got a tremendous amount of spirit. And good for you, Shauna. And by the way, fans, we are going to try to talk to Mike Wallace if we can when the race is over and get his side of the story to be fair to all involved in what happened on lap 1. Just past the halfway point at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've got a wild one going. Stay with us. Back with more after this.
If you want to know why most NASCAR teams use a Sears Die-Hard battery, just ask a guy who didn't use a Die Hard. Die Hard, the official battery of NASCAR. For more power when you need it most.
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone, and taking care of them means having what they need when they need it. That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers, because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer, but we think of you as the boss.
No matter if you like it mild and sweet, or if your favorite foods are hot and spicy, Coca-Cola Classic fits every mood. With every kind of food, there's always Coca-Cola, yeah. Coca-Cola, always Coca-Cola.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
The high side, step, valve, and da-da-da, da-da-da.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, 54-year-old Harry Gant. His final year of racing of any kind, Winston Cup, Busch Grand National, and he leads the show here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He's the leader. Who's running second? Well, we're going to widen out a little bit and show you Mark Martin in the car number 60, and Mark is trying to come, but Harry's got that car dialed in.
I tell you what, I think Harry Gant might be gaining a little bit. We'll have to check that out because Mark had all kinds of problems getting through the traffic, and Harry Gant just drove away. There's Joe Bessie trying to get by Earnhardt. This is a third-place battle. And Earnhardt up on the outside of the racetrack gets momentum. Stays in front of Bessie, but Joe's going to come back on the inside, tried up in 3 and 4.
Side-by-side battle for third spot here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Joe Bessie holds off Dale Earnhardt.
Here comes Earnhardt. He's coming back, so Joe Bessie still can't take that spot away.
I think Joe saw that lap car up ahead and just decided to get back in line. No sense in pressing the issue. Way too early in the race to be making dangerous maneuvers. And Joe's really running a smart race. I'll tell you, he's been learning from Dale here on how to get around this racetrack. He's got an awful strong.
You see Jim Bound going behind the wall. That's the Deluxe Beans car out of Seagrove, North Carolina.
Talk about sponsors complimenting. He's got 2 sponsors on that car. He's got Lutz, which is Pinto Beans, is one sponsor. You know what the other sponsor is? Lysol spray, yeah. Meanwhile, back here.
Ronald Cooper slows down the front straightaway. Looks like he's lost an engine, and that is so bad. Had a great run going. Was running about 4th place as we see Joe Bessie once again trying to get by Earnhardt. Got a run on him this time. Might have the pass made. Earnhardt's going to come back. Bessie moves up the racetrack. Takes that spot away.
Joe getting a little loose over there right in the center of the corner. He almost lost it.
And he pulls down on the inside, and Earnhardt has another good run at him, but Bessie's trying to hug that bottom groove. They go back for turn 1. 32-year-old driver Joe Bessie. 1988 Busch Grand National North Rookie of the Year. In 92, he finished second up in the North Tour to Dick McKay by a scant 6 points. And here's Ronald Cooper down on the inside apron. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, once again, it looks like engine problems. Ronald Cooper, who started running with a skip in the motor. It could be something going in the valve train. It quite possibly could something be in the ignition. They will bring him on to pit road to see if they can get the problem fixed and get him back out there. Cooper was very, very anxious to get this race started today. As Jerry said earlier, it's been 1990 since he ran the full schedule on the Busch Series, and he has really made a very good run so far in his races this year.
You know, Ronald Cooper came back and ran the last 3 main events of 1993. Martinsville, Washington, and Atlanta. He had a 12th place finish in Atlanta in this same car last year and was running in 6th spot prior to that problem here just a moment ago.
It looks like that Mark's gaining just a little bit. Here's a race for, what's this race for? 9th spot? Dale Jarrett on the outside in 9th and Bobby Labonte in 10th. Okay, we reverse that. Dale Jarrett's back in 10th, Labonte is 9th. And while we're talking about the Jarrett family, we ought to tell the folks that Ned Jarrett had some surgery about 2 weeks ago up in Hickory, North Carolina. He decided to stay home this weekend, recuperate. He will be back at Darlington, all charged up and ready to go. Brett Bodine sitting in for Ned Jarrett.
And we're glad to have Brett here. We look forward to having Ned back. The Ned had a little surgery done on his neck, and he said something about a pinched nerve, but the real story, Benny, he wanted to be able to keep his head down for those tee shots.
Look at Rich Bickle. Where'd he come from? That's for position. He's running right up there. That's 6th spot. Wow.
Started back in 25th position. Wisconsin driver Rich Bickle in the Bondo Chevrolet.
Robert Plesser driving by Dale Earnhardt going down in the 3rd turn, and Rich Bickle looks like he's trying to make the same move coming off of turn 4.
Rich Bickle making his first ever Busch Grand National start. He's run Winston Cup and some ARCA events, but never run a Busch race. Tried to qualify before, but made the field and doing a pretty good job here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
That's 4th spot. Here comes Harry Gant, and look, Mark Martin right behind him, so he is gaining, Brent.
No question that Mark's tire changes definitely picked him up. His car's handling much better, and he's making ground on the leader here again.
You're back to the battle for 3rd place. This is Bickle on the inside, Presley on the outside, Preston the black 99, the 98 on the inside. This is for 3rd. And Bickle's got him.
And we mentioned Ronald Cooper had slowed. He has now come to a complete stop in his standing with John Curtin.
Well, Ronald, it has to be a disappointing end to your day. You were running so well, but something in the engine broke.
Yeah, we were running real well. Right there, probably about 50 laps into the race, we dropped back a little bit because noticed the oil temperature was going up. But, you know, we thought something might be going wrong with the motor, but wasn't nothing to do but run it wide open and let it go.
Well, Ronald Cooper still with a smile. He'll be back next week. Good to have you back on the series, Ronald. Jerry?
Thank you, John. Ronald Cooper, a very talented driver, and you heard Brett Bodine say earlier, he raced with Ronald back when he first started this series, and he was quite a competitor. Talking about competition, Bessie trying to hold off Earnhardt. His car got a little bit squirrely, and Earnhardt makes the move.
Well, no. Bessie's still trying to pass Earnhardt. He's still trying to pass Earnhardt, and he still hasn't been able to make it. He gets alongside, but when he go in the corner, Earnhardt up on the top side of the racetrack, drives past him.
Dale Earnhardt, the winningest driver, active driver now in Busch competition. 22 career victories, 18 on super speedways.
And there we see the Mark Martin closing ever so slowly.
And Harry Gant is our leader. Let's take a look at our AutoZone recap here. Our leader is Gant, has led 34 of 110 laps. There have been 14 lead changes among 8 drivers. 20 cars on the lead lap as of lap 110. 5 caution flags. The average speed a shade over 120 miles per hour. Lap leaders, taking a look there. Mark Martin, who's closing in a hurry, has led 39 laps. Gant, who still leads, has led 37. Earnhardt, Waltrip, Mike Wallace, and Chad Little being shown as the leaders, along with Joe Bessie and Dirk Stevens. Out of race, Elton Sawyer, Mike McLaughlin, Magic Shoes is gone. Ernie Irvin, Cole Parsons had trouble with the transmission. Doug Hevron involved in an incident. And Joe Nemechek, a victim of that first lap crash. Randy McDonald tagged the wall. Roy Payne hit the outside wall in turn 3. And Shawna Robinson has just gone to the garage area. And look at Mark Martin. We just gave you the AutoZone recap. Mark was patient enough to wait for that to be complete. And now Mark's going to make his pass.
He's going to try to make his pass.
No, he's going to make his pass.
Well, let's see now. Who's right? Looks like Jerry's right. He makes that pass.
Mark Martin did a heck of a job. And about 6 laps ago, he had about a 20-car length deficit. Now he's got about 4 and pulling away from Harry Gant.
This car's awfully well through the center of the corners. Again, you got to have a car that can roll through the center of the corner. We saw Mark chasing Harry down into that corner. Harry slid up. Mark was able to throttle right on by coming up.
laps are complete, 197. As you look from high above Atlanta Motor Speedway, as we get set for the final laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll be back with more in the Busch Light 300 after this.
At AutoZone, most of our customers are folks who like to work on their cars themselves. But the ones who come in most often are those who work on cars for a living. Guys like Ed Graven. Now, Ed's garage is in Ogden, Utah, where most of the time you'll find him pulling an engine or sliding under a car. And just about every day, he drives past a half-dozen other parts stores on his way to AutoZone. Because Ed knows that when it comes to getting the right part for the right price, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
You can compare the new Suzuki RF to a lot of things. Another motorcycle isn't one of them.
Don't miss Suzuki's truly moving, dealing days.
Performance. Every element on the track is matched by one off the track. Off the track and into the high-performance furnace systems of Luxair. Speed is matched by high efficiency, protection by strong warranty, handling by quiet operation, and power by warm Luxair comfort. Winners in performance, #1 in comfort, Luxair. A reason for loving every season.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, our field summary. Mark Martin's our leader. Harry Gant second. Rich Bickle, a great run in third spot, his first ever Busch start. Robert Presley is fourth. Dale Earnhardt is holding the 5th position. And that is a great battle as you're watching right there. As you look at our field summary, Earnhardt 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 8 cars all together on the outside. Joe Bessie beneath him. The 20 car, Randy LaJoie is behind him. Tracy Leslie is back there. And Dennis Setzer in the Alliance Training Center Chevrolet. And look at Larry Pearson. Started shotgun on the field. We had a little bit of almost a collision there between Randy LaJoie and Joe Bessie.
That's all Bessie needs is another wreck.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. He's seen enough of those. He must see those in his dreams. Randy LaJoie makes the pass. Now he's going to try to get by Earnhardt. Bessie's been trying to do it. Let me go up there and try this for a while.
This is about a half a lap behind the leaders. The car on the top of your screen, that is Larry Pearson, who started 43rd shotgun on the field, the 2-time Busch Series champion. That's the Mac Martin-owned Stanley Tool Chevrolet. And boy, what a job Larry has done to bring that car toward the top 10.
If there's a guy that can come from the back of the pack, it's Larry Pearson. Very patient driver, never in a hurry. Dennis Setzer awfully crooked right there coming off the second turn. He did a great job of getting it back under control.
Boy, whole lot crooked. Boy, did his heart skip a beat there with that big left-hand turn. There's Earnhardt, Joe Bessie. Once again, we're looking at 6th, 7th, and 8th as Randy LaJoie has moved in front of that group to take over the 5th spot. Going around the car number 43 of Rodney Combs, a Richard Petty on Black Flag Pontiac.
Oh, Bessie got hung behind him and losing all those spots. He worked so hard to get up there, got hung behind Rodney Combs and lost all those spots. Every one of those cars goes by, with the exception of Dirk Stevens.
You mentioned Dennis Setzer now being shown in the top 7. He had a great run in his first attempt at Atlanta back in November. Had come from the back of the pack and was running 6th with a few laps to go and got tangled up with Chad Little, 2 cars spinning and missing out on what was a great opportunity for a top 5 finish in last year's finale in Busch Racing.
That's our 4th place car, right? That black 99 of Robert Presley. There's Earnhardt, who's currently running what, 7th?
7th, and then behind him is Setzer. And Setzer's going to take a look at the 7th spot, but Earnhardt holds the middle groove. 69 laps remain. Setzer now will try to take the spot away from Earnhardt. That 7th position being contested. It's a drag race to turn 1, and Setzer will have the advantage, at least entering the turn.
And we got to... Oh, Earnhardt gets way high. He got a little crooked down there too, Brett.
He ran it in that first turn awfully deep and just got up high, headed towards that light gray area. He knew enough to get out of the throttle and give up the spot.
Take a look at Dennis Setzer. Started 38th, made his way patiently, very, very patiently toward the front, and right now he is being shown in 6th position. A lot of people compare him with the late Busch Light in his driving style. A very patient, a very kind driver. Doesn't use up the race car, but always makes his way to the front when it's time to go.
Looks like someone that's used up the race car is Dale Earnhardt. He's on the backslide. He's really fighting the car, running that high lane, trying to get a hold of any part of the racetrack he can, and he's just not having any luck up there. These guys are driving by him now on the inside.
And I tell you what, they got to get going, because as they come off turn 4, the leader, Mark Martin, right now is going in turn 3. So there we see Martin. He's coming off 4 right now.
Right behind Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's in jeopardy of losing a lap.
Dale Jarrett, the 15th and final car on the lead lap, and that is Mark Martin moving in a hurry on the Pick and Pay Chevrolet. Martin will move up and go around Dale Jarrett and put him a lap down. Now just 14 cars on the lead lap. A moment ago, Terry Labonte was running for the lead, and now he's trying to keep from losing a lap.
There we see the 97 and 3. Hey, same deal. How many laps have we seen this, Brett? About 25 now. Joe Bessie on the inside. Earnhardt on the outside. Kyle Petty, what's Earnhardt doing? Has he got a problem or what?
Earnhardt's car, basically what has happened is he stopped early. Like I said, when we were talking about Mark not changing tires, Earnhardt put on 2 tires. He put on right side. The last caution in lap 85 or 86, he only put on left side. So he's got all the laps he run before that on the right side, plus the last 40 or 50 laps. So the car is really loose, Vinny.
I got you. That's a great report, because Earnhardt has only changed that right side. Now, who's that spun?
That was smoke out of one car as he went up across the racetrack and headed down pit road.
The right front tire, he has hit the wall. That car has hit the wall. That's Presley, has nailed the wall hard. He's coming down pit road, and I hope he can stop.
Robert Presley in the car number 99, who qualified 10th, and the right side of that car is hurt heavy.
Earnhardt getting lapped by Mark Martin. There he goes. Earnhardt's on the outside. Seattle loses a lap down.
That's Randy Porter in the 35. He's in jeopardy of going a lap down as Mark Martin's trying to get by him on the inside.
Now, Porter was a rookie driver who qualified 4th, a young man from Greenville, South Carolina, as the caution now being shown to the field.
What a tough break for Earnhardt.
Well, I know how he feels. That happened to me at Rockingham. Just the lap before you get lapped, and the next lap the yellow comes out.
Caution on the Speedway for the 6th time today here at Atlanta Motor Raceway. Back with more for the Busch Light 300 after this.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and me. Come on and head for the mountains of Busch. Come on and head for the mountains of Busch. Here.
Robert, we're ready.
Okay. Got it warmed up?
Yeah.
Before a Robert Yates engine makes it to the track, it's torture tested right here.
Well, let's do it.
And there's only one motor oil Yates relies on for complete protection. Haviland Formula 3. The same Haviland Formula 3 you can buy right off the shelf.
215 degrees, 8,700.
That's race ready.
Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Run it like a winner. That'll get the job done.
Sin.
Robertson's Palmdale Honda, where they're going to make you happy. And here's one way to make you happy. For only $1 down, you can take delivery on Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year, the 1994 Honda Accord LX. That's right, just $1, $1 down, and only $249 a month plus tax, and you can be enjoying the Motor Trend Import Car of the Year. But you better hurry. These Honda Accords are going fast at Robertson's Palmdale Honda in the Auto Center in Palmdale, where they really want to make you happy.
If you have a business with as few as 5 employees, IntegraCare 24 is for you. For what you're currently spending on workman's comp and group insurance, you can get leading carrier group health insurance, full-service workman's comp, case management of disabled employees, workplace safety evaluation, management of ADA and OSHA compliance, and more. Call 940-1411 and find out how much you can get for less with IntegraCare 24.
Entering today's event after 3 starts in 1994, and boy, what a shuffling they're going to take. Hermie Sadler's had trouble, had to get in a car number 4 to start the race. They had problems today. Robert Presley just smacked the outside wall, his car being worked on behind the wall. Kenny Wallace had trouble in the early part of the race with fuel pressure. Harry Gant will not run the full series. He's not going to be a factor for the championship. Like you said, Benny, no one right now has taken control, even early on, of this Busch series.
They sure aren't. As the green flag drops and we're off and running, and Mark Martin continues to lead Harry Gant second, and Bobby Labonte is third. The red, white car on the inside. 15 Chevrolet of Bobby Labonte.
11 cars left on the lead lap. Dale Jarrett is a lap down, as is the car number 23 of Chad Little and Dale Earnhardt.
Martin and Harry Gant have shown all day that they probably have the 2 best cars here. They both stopped. They got 4 tires on each car. We are going to decide which has the best car today.
58 laps remain. They will not need another pit stop unless they get a caution flag. We should not see any more scheduled stops as far as fuel or tire changes.
Kyle Petty reported that stop, change tires. He is struggling, Kyle, with those new tires. We see him on the top of the racetrack, and about 5 or 6 cars have passed him since the green flag fell.
Martin and Gant, your leaders. They pull away by about 12 car lengths over Bobby Labonte in 3rd spot. Dennis Setzer having a good run. He is back there as well in 4th spot. Randy Porter in 5th. A pair of rookies talking about how bright the future is in this series. And here is Setzer making a move underneath Bobby Labonte, and he will bring the lap car of Dale Jarrett with him, along with Mike Wallace in the car number 9.
Also a lap down.
See Dale Jarrett driving by Dennis Setzer. I believe Dale Jarrett might have started that restart with a low air pressure in his tires. He fell back a little bit. Now his car looks awful strong again. That jockeying of air pressure, very critical on restarts to make sure that you let the pressure build up before you go off and start running hard.
Here's Randy LaJoie trying to make it 3 wide up the back straightaway. Thanks better of it. Falls back in behind Randy Porter. LaJoie's in that blue and white minimal car number 20, the Fina car, right in front of Dale Earnhardt, who's right in front of the 14 car of Terry Labonte.
Goes Dennis Setzer by on the outside of Porter. And can't make the pass.
Great aerial shots from above. Watching, as you see, the LaJoie makes that pass for 3rd and 4th. Our Advanced Auto Parts air platform. Advanced Auto Parts, home of PDQ. Parts delivered quickly. Getting those shots from above. Our aerial coverage.
Dennis Setzer evidently has some sort of a problem. He has dropped back very quickly. Everybody's just been driving by him. He cannot keep his car down low in the racetrack.
As we see, he has fallen all the way back to the end of that pack. And Bobby Labonte was up there just a moment ago, and now he has fallen back. He's even fallen farther back than Dennis Setzer. So these guys, you're right, they restarted the race. The car looked good, and all of a sudden they go back. Could it be they let the air pressure down too much, Brent?
Well, it's very possible, you know, especially after a long run. You think you've got a fix fix to your problem. You make an adjustment, and it just doesn't work for you. Too little of air pressure is very, very hard to drive the car. The car gets very squirrely.
Glad to have you with us here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Benny Parsons, Brett Bodine, John Kernan, Kyle Petty, and yours truly, Jerry Pudge, bringing you live racing action here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The Busch Light 300 as Mark Martin trying to pick up his first win in 1994. Back with more after this.
Robert, all we need here is some oil and we'll be ready to crank. Okay. Jeff, get us suitcases. I have one.
Yes, sir, right away.
Robert, we're out. Get us suitcases and fly.
There's only one motor oil that Robert Yates Racing relies on for complete protection. Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
That was quick.
Yeah, they had it right down the street.
The same Haviland Formula 3 you can use in your car.
Buy a case of Haviland, get a free camera, and a chance for a free trip on Continental Airlines.
Sure, you've got a car. Got a dog. Even got some fun-loving friends. But have you got what it takes to be a mountain man? All it really takes are the two cool beers of the mountain man. Smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
I was just talking to Liz and Michael, and they say they're gonna watch. Yeah, it's gonna be big. Everyone's gonna be there. You should come too.
We welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Busch Light 300. Just 50 laps remain here in this fourth stop of the Busch Tour. And assisting ESPN with aerial coverage of this year's Busch Light 300 are the fine folks from Advanced Auto Parts, home of PDQ, parts delivered quickly. Giving us those great aerial shots from high above Atlanta Motor Speedway. There are the lead cars. Mark Martin, the car number 60. That's the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird. Behind him, the Manheim Auctions Chevrolet 54-year-old Harry Gant. Black flag being shown to one car on the field. Looks to be the car number 55, the Tim Fedewa machine. Apparently there's something coming from beneath the rear of the car. Our camera crew able to see something black across the back of the Luxair Ford Thunderbird. Ray and Don machine.
That's normally a sign that he has an oil leak. See how black it is? That he has an oil leak and he's leaking oil on the racetrack. We saw just a little bit of smoke there. NASCAR officials does not allow that. If you're losing any kind of fluids, you got to come in the garage area, pit area, and fix that before you can get back on the racetrack.
And Jeff Chandler and the crew will take a look at that car. Here's another driver who doesn't really have a sponsor. They put Luxair on the car because Luxair's driver, Mike Stefanik, unfortunately didn't make the field here in Atlanta. So Tim Fedewa trying to run the entire year in Busch competition, looking for some sponsorship. And now Mark Mew, Jeff Chandler, and the crew will go beneath the hood on that Ford Thunderbird.
I tell you what, Brett, this is a really good race. I mean, Mark Martin, Harry Gant, these cars are very, very equal.
Very equal. We saw Mark Martin jump out there and take the lead. Harry Gant is not letting him get away. He's staying plenty close enough so that he can get a run on him late in the race. He's going to take advantage of it.
Here's a third-place car, Randy LaJoy, and these guys between Mark Martin and Harry Gant if they finish.
Good run, though, back there for LaJoy. And behind him, Randy Porter, who's a key driver. We haven't talked much about Randy Porter, but number 35, he started in 4th position. Right now, he's being shown in 4th place in the Laughlin Race Car Products Chevrolet out of Greenville, South Carolina. Good run for Randy LaJoy. That's him in the blue car, number 20, the Phoenix Chevrolet. Speaking of Randy LaJoy, let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, Randy was telling me yesterday, if he doesn't run well today, he has no one to blame but himself. He's calling the car he has out on the racetrack right now his kit car. It's a car that he basically redid throughout the winter. It was his winter-long project to redo that car and get it ready for the race here in Atlanta. So he's got a little extra at stake because he can't pull in after the race and say, hey, guys, you didn't build me a good enough car.
Randy, the 1985 Busch Grand National North champion. Plans on running 5 Winston Cup races this year with the Dick Moroso Racing Team. He'll drive a Ford on the Winston Cup Tour. He's driving a Chevrolet here today in Busch competition.
a great battle between Randy LaJoie, Randy Porter, Terry Labonte.
And how about Larry Pearson started all the way back in 43rd spot, has moved his way all the way up to 6th. There's the interval between first and 5th place. Labonte is 9 seconds behind. So, as I said a moment ago, the race is between those two cars in front. LaJoie, Porter, Labonte, they're out of it right now.
Second gap back to Randy LaJoie. Our computerized intervals here, you get an idea of exactly what those guys have put out for them to catch the lead twosome. And where are the lead two? Well, we have to go up across the racetrack about half a lap away to find Mark Martin and Harry Gant. Gant, the second winningest driver in Busch Series competition, just behind Earnhardt, has won 22 times. Gant has won 20 times. But he has not been to victory lane since April of 1992. He went winless last year.
Mark Martin just blew. Mark just blew going down the front straightaway, just like Daytona Beach. Remember, just a few laps to go. It happened in Daytona, and it happened here just as he went by the start-finish line.
Incredible. With 8 laps to go at Daytona, he was running second in a draft with Ernie Irvan and Bill Elliott, and it let go. And now Martin once again is snake pitting here at Atlanta.
You see Mark Martin moving around in there. He's switching ignition boxes. He's trying anything he can to try to get that car refired. He's not going to give up until he's changed every switch and every ignition box he can. I believe it's terminal.
Let's check in their pits, John.
Well, we were just standing along watching Mark's progress. You were getting a drink of the water, and all of a sudden you looked up, Mark was slowing down. Did he tell you what happened to it?
He uttered an expletive and said he was going to the garage area. Had good strategy on the stop. You know, we didn't get tires on the first caution. Tried to lap as many people as we could in the middle of the race. Caught that caution with 6 to go. Hair was pretty stable. We were going to race, and we just had a hard day.
You guys really turn a lot of RPMs in these engines here, and those little 6 cylinders sometimes don't last the whole race. You really get all you can out of them, don't you?
Yeah, they run around here about wide open, too. It's a big racetrack. You run fast with the big cars. You run even fast with the little cars. They just sit with them flat on the floor, no restrictor plate. They're liable to blow up.
Okay, well, good luck tomorrow, Steve. Jerry?
Well, John, in qualifying, he had a similar problem. He went to qualify, only had to run 1 lap, and coming off turn 4 to take the checkered flag, the engine blew. So he finished the last part of his qualifying lap with no power. And now he comes up just about, about 40 laps short from a victory. And Benny, as you said, in Daytona, he was 8 laps away from possibly winning it, and the same thing happened.
You know, and everyone wonders why in 1995, I guess next year, that NASCAR is going to change the rules and make these, or let the Busch cars, or dictate they go to V8s. And I think it's a 9-to-1 compression V8. And everyone says, why are they going to V8s? Why not the V6s? I think we're seeing why they're going to V8s, because the durability is just not there in the V6s.
Well, a moment ago, these guys were racing for 3rd. Now they're racing for... In a little while, you never know in NASCAR racing, they could be racing for the lead. So this is a very important battle right here.
Good battle back here. Here's Tracy Leslie in the car number 72. The Ron Parker on machine. That's a Chevrolet, the Detroit Gasket-sponsored car. He is right behind the Stanley Tools efforts of Larry Pearson and the MW Windows Chevrolet. Now moving to the outside, that is Terry Labonte. Good run for Tracy Leslie.
Pearson takes his spot away. Tracy trying to take it away. That is for the 5th spot. No, the 4th spot. Pearson's moved into 4th. Now Tracy's moved into 5th. They booted Labonte back to the 6th spot.
Tracy Leslie, the 1988 ARCA Series national champion, made the move. The Busch Series competition, picked up his first win last August at Indianapolis Raceway Park. His first Busch Series victory, and now trying to get another good stop, a good finish here in 1994. Laps are winding down here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 160 of 197 are in the books. We'll have more from the Busch Light 300 when we come back after this.
Napa, we're the most complete source for auto parts, and all Napa parts are backed by a nationwide warranty program. No wonder more Americans trust Napa to keep their vehicles running.
Introducing the new Goodyear Eagle AquaTread for performance sedans. The wet traction of an AquaTread, the performance of an Eagle. 2 Aqua channels maximize acceleration, cornering, and braking traction. The new Eagle AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
Are you saying that I killed my wife?
gun down! Turn around!
The Fugitive comes home on video. Nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Harrison Ford is The Fugitive, for sale wherever videos are sold.
Robert, we're ready. Okay. Got it warmed up? Yeah. Before a Robert Yates engine makes it to the track, it's torture tested right here.
Well, let's do it.
There's only one motor oil Yates relies on for complete protection. Haviland Formula 3. The same Haviland Formula 3 you can buy right off the shelf.
215 degrees, 8,700. That's race ready.
Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Run it like a winner. That'll get the job done.
34 laps remain here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and this is the 4th stop of the 1994 Busch Grand National Series Tour. 54-year-old Harry Gainey is now. The last time he won, he was 52 years and 2 months. He still holds the record for the oldest driver to win in Busch competition. He can move it up a couple of years if he hangs on and wins one today. Here's a good battle for some young drivers. Well, one young driver to be exact, Randy Porter in the 35, and Larry Pearson always lies about his age. He's 40 to 42 somewhere, but he's having a good run also in the Stanley Tool Show.
I think he learned that from his father, don't you?
Yeah, probably did. That's the son of David Pearson, black in that black and yellow car, Larry Pearson. This is for 3rd place.
Let's check in with John Kernan. John?
Yeah, Jerry, I wanted to correct a mistake. Earlier in the race, I think I said that Hubert Hensley had provided a motor for Elton Sawyer. No, the Hubert Hensley team had the same engine builder as Larry Pearson. Well, when they lost a motor, they went over and borrowed one from the Hubert Hensley team. And yesterday afternoon in practice, they were one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. In fact, they felt they could come from the back of the pack where they started all the way to the front, and that certainly has held true.
That, of course, being Kevin Blanks, the engine builder for the Hensley operation. They've been successful over the years, even winning a Busch Series championship. So, little wonder that Larry Pearson is running as well as he is in the car number 92.
There's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and the red car is in 5th. Just a glimpse of Tracy Leslie.
We mentioned Pearson is going to run the full tour in 1994. Last year he ran 14 events for Mac Martin, and he finished 2nd 4 times. Almost had it won, but Walker couldn't quite hang on. Steve Grissom was able to make the win, but trying to get his first win in quite some time. Whoa, they nearly come together down in turn 1, and the rookie's hanging with him, Brett.
I'll tell you, Randy's got a good race car, and and he's not letting anybody push him around. He's really doing a great job here at Atlanta.
Tracy trying to check out now, which one of these guys do I follow? He needs to follow the 92. He says, okay, that's where I'm going. He goes by, takes his spot away. Moved Randy Porter all the way back to 4th to 5th from 3rd. If we talk about a guy, he does badly.
It seems that way, but maybe we should just stop talking and let Jerry handle it.
We won't mention your Winston Cup efforts in as far as tomorrow. We'll just leave it alone.
Just forget about it. Very good.
You or Kyle, either one. Hopefully you'll both have a great day at Speedway. Laps winding down, 30 to go. That time by, once again, we'll draw your attention to the right upper part of our screen, and you can wind down to 29 laps. Average speed. Now we're at a record pace here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Even though we've had 6 caution flags, we are setting an average speed. It was 124 miles an hour. Jeff Gordon set it 2 years ago. That's the race record. We certainly are above that with less than 30 laps to go.
Now, can Pearson and Tracy Leslie, can they run down the 20 car of Randy LaJoie? Or are they going to try to worry about racing each other instead of catching LaJoie? That's the question that I've got. They're probably going to race each other. There's LaJoie in the blue car, the Phenolube, the Stanley Tools. Oh, Rich Bickle goes up, hits the wall, and the caution flag is out. Bickle must have done a heck of a job because he never went around.
Boy, what a job he did. It looked like he was swatting flies in there, but he had arms and legs going every different direction. Brett, how much can you control a car when you pop one like that?
Well, I'll tell you, the oil, the liquid comes out of that motor, gets underneath the tires. It's like driving on glass, and Rich Bickle did a tremendous job of keeping that car out of the fence, keeping it from spinning around in front of the other traffic.
Rich Bickle, at 32 years of age, brings out the caution for the 7th time today, making his first ever Busch Series start in the Bondo-sponsored Chevrolet. What a great run he had going.
Unbelievable how he kept that car from going all the way around. And you normally don't get those babies 90 degrees and bring them back, but he did it.
Well, that's that short track experience. This guy's won everywhere he's been, on the asphalt, on the dirt. He's been successful in ARCA competition, has run some very good efforts in Winston Cup. But now it'll all come to an end here with less than 30 laps. In fact, 27 laps remaining here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Well, now what's the deal on tires now? Let's see who's got what left.
Has anybody left? That's right. We have seen Harry Gant change. All right, let's watch the replay and see if we can see what happened to Rich Bickle. He's already blown an engine. He goes in the corner. He's very low. And all of a sudden, I guess the oil gets under the tires. Yep. And watch this, folks. This is a fantastic job of bringing the car back under control.
Tell you what, he impressed me, and that is a heck of an effort there. He let the car sort of go across the racetrack and use the banking to help keep from spinning the car. Under caution for the 7th time today. Will they pit? Will they stay on the track? We'll find out from Kyle and Kernan when we come back. Stay with us.
Why use Valvoline motor oil? It's the #1 choice of Indy 500 chief mechanics, Daytona 500 chief mechanics, NHRA mechanics, and Baja 1000 mechanics. For use in their race cars and in their own cars. Any more questions? People who know use Valvoline.
This is the award-winning Goodyear AquaTread with its deep groove aqua channel. And this is the new Eagle AquaTread for performance sedans. A wider performance tire with 2 aqua channels to sweep water away. Now you get the wet traction of a Goodyear AquaTread and the performance of a Goodyear Eagle. One good turn deserves another. The new Eagle AquaTread, only from Goodyear. We say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
That's him. Really? Him? Because he looks a little, you know, kind of... Joe, we're doing a promo for Friday night's game. How about smiling for the camera? Well, that was something. That was maybe. That was pretty good. Grin. Maybe a smirk.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, we might mention that the tire wars have been ongoing throughout the year of 1994 in Winston Cup, but there's been more of a battle really in Busch Series competition because of last week's Hoosier win with Joe Nemechek's car. Harry Gant has the Hoosier tires with his car number 7, but Benny, it's all Goodyear for about 3 or 4 cars behind him.
Yeah, it is a 35 car. Randy Porter has the Hoosier tires on as well. He stopped and changed a couple just a moment ago, and it looks like we're going back green flag racing. This time by Elmo Langland, a pace car, leading the car as they come off turn 4, and Elmo, he makes the hard left, so pretty soon these fellas will be accelerated, and it's going to be showdown time.
20 lap sprint to the finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kyle Petty, John Kernan, Brett Bodine, Harry Gant is leading. Jenny Parsons with us here in the booth. Jerry Punch bringing you this great finish at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Ken Gant, hang on.
Harry Gant on that restart opened up a big margin over Randy Joy. Between himself and Joy. Larry Pearson trying to catch back up to Randy as they enter the 3rd turn.
Out of turn 4, it'll be 19 to go. This time by Gant. In comes the lap car up here. LaJoy in 2nd. Larry Pearson all the way from 43rd starting position. Good run for Pearson. Also behind him, Tracy Leslie. Good speedway run for Leslie.
Here comes Pearson trying to get on the inside of the joint. Can't make it. Backs up. In Busch Series in 1994, just might be Randy LaJoy. Larry Pearson, a couple of guys who are going to run the entire circuit, and we saw LaJoy in Daytona run very well. We're seeing him here again in Atlanta, running awfully well against the Busch competition.
LaJoy had a 4th place finish at Rocky back in 35. first spot. Larry Pearson, a two-time series champion in Busch competition, knows what it feels like to be a champion. Would like to make it 3 times. Running the full tour for the first time in a number of years in that Mac Martin-owned car. It's fielded up in North Carolina. Mac is from Lenore.
See Dale Jarrett move over quickly and let those guys go by. The only car that stopped changed tires. That's for 6th spot, trying to get on the inside of Dennis Setzer. The 35 car, Porter stopped, put on right sides.
Talk about our future in this series, Vinny. These are 2 rookies here battling for 6th position. What a great future this Busch series has. In fact, there were 6 rookies in the field, and now Porter, with those fresh right side tires, able to make the pass. As he said, there's cars slip up a little bit in the turns. He is back in 7th spot.
Porter's about 40 car lengths behind Terry Labonte for the next spot. I just don't know if he can get there. His car didn't seem to pick up that much with the new tires on.
Here comes Joe Bessie. He stopped a moment ago, did not change tires. He did make a chassis adjustment, and he did change the air pressure, let some air out of those tires. Just a little bit of air a moment ago. Let's see if it does him any good.
Here's the young man with 1 race car. No money after the day. No chance of racing unless he can possibly get a sponsor, and he's driving his car out, moving inside of Dennis Setzer to try to take the spot away. That would be the 7th position. That is the car that he and his crew worked around the clock to rebuild after that practice incident at Daytona. Crashed during one of the practices on Wednesday afternoon prior to the Goodies 300.
There's Dirk Stevens.
He is a couple laps down.
The DuPont car. And here comes Harry again. Looks like he's checked out on the boys. I don't know. LaJoy, Pearson, they can still see him. And Brent, as long as you can see that guy in front, there's always hope, right?
That's for sure. You know, you just always think something's going to happen. Your car might find a better groove. His car might go away. These guys are running awfully hard.
You never know. Harry again. Good heavens. No, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. I'm not even thinking it, folks. I was thinking about Mark Martin. I'll tell you that.
Approaching the 10 lap to go mark here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Glad to have you with us. Stop number 4 on a 28 race, $6.5 million NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Tour.
Coming off that corner, how you got to drive up out of that hole to get on the straightaway. That's what Brett and I were talking about early in the race. One more field summary. You can see Harry Gant, LaJoy, Pearson, Leslie, and Labonte all in the lead lap. Back to 8th place, Dennis Setzer and Jared Earnhardt. A lap down, along with Mike Wallace. On these other cars, 3 cars, 2 laps down, and 3 up to 3 laps down. You see Craven, Combs, and Bickle are Craven and Combs 4 laps down. Jason Pittman to begin with. Michael Walker. Ernie Irvin finished 40th today.
Some of the cars out of the race, Joe Nemechek, he was a victim. Didn't even get to complete a whole lap. Involved in that first lap incident. Mike Wallace and Shawna Robinson. 10 to go. Carl Simmons holds out 2 full handfuls to Harry Gant.
I was talking to Peggy Gant down in Harry's transporter before the race, and she said, I just hope that Harry could have a good year this year as his farewell tour takes place. And it's been such a miserable start, she said. But maybe today, if he can pull it off, Peggy will make up for some of the terrible starts you've had this year.
This is Harry's racetrack. He qualified on the pole here in November for the Winston Cup race. Likes this kind of track. Likes this Atlanta kind of configuration in Dover and Rockingham.
These cars are pretty evenly matched.
Sure are.
There's Harry Gant. There's Peggy.
Boy, does she look pensive or not? She knows her husband wants to go out in style, and certainly no one deserves it better than Harry Gant. What a gentleman he has been in this sport for the past 20 years.
These two guys drove away from Tracy Leslie. He was not able to keep up. But he is still running in 4th spot.
Once again, Gant's a leader. LaJoie in 2nd. Harry Pearson is 3rd. As you mentioned, Benny, Tracy Leslie is 4th. Terry Labonte is 5th. And now the battle for 2nd is going to heat up.
Randy LaJoie in the last couple laps has had a little bit of problem keeping his car down low in 1 and 2, and Larry Pearson was underneath him a couple times. Larry might be sizing him up, trying to decide where is his best spot to take a shot at him.
Check it out. Here they go down in turn 1 that Brett was talking about. Let's watch as LaJoie goes in. Keeps car down pretty well that time, Brett.
That time, I think he learned from the last trip through there when Larry got up alongside of him coming off the 2. Actually, he's holding the car down low all the way around the corner. Larry might be looking to the outside the next time by.
7 to go. It'll be 6 next time by. And what you're watching once again is the battle for 2nd position. LaJoie in the blue car, the Chevrolet, in the green car you just saw leave your picture. That's the leader. About a 3-second differential back to 2nd and 3rd.
You're right, though. The Pearson car is beating LaJoie down in 1 and 2. Uh-oh. Pearson trying on the inside. Got a run going. Oh, LaJoie comes right down to the white line. He's just telling Pearson, you're going to have to do it on the outside. Larry's still going to try it on the inside. Got a good run this time, Brett.
He pulled even down the front straight and just drove right by him. I think Randy was experiencing a loose driving race car with Larry Pearson tucked up behind him.
Yeah.
And once again, remember, folks, this car you're watching here, how impressive is this run? The car number 92 a moment ago, he started dead last, 43rd. Field. You can't get any further toward the back unless you're back there in one of the wreckers helping them get started. That's where Larry Pearson began a week ago at Richmond and here. And here's Tracy Leslie been able to go by and take the 3rd spot away from Randy LaJoie.
LaJoie's got some serious problems. I think Brett's riding the car just as loose as it can be.
And he's, if you look behind LaJoie, here comes Terry Labonte in the car number 14.
I believe the motor's gone sour in the 20 car. He's losing speed down the straightaways. His corner speed's still pretty good, but his straightaway speed has gone all the pieces on him. He might have dropped the cylinders.
What a tough break for Randy LaJoie after some great runs. And apparently we have confirmed it is the engine. And Bob Rinaldi, who builds the motors for Dick Moroso, built them bulletproof. But this one just came about 3.5 laps short of getting him a good top 3 or 4 finish.
4th place car, Randy Porter's worked his way back up. He's got those fresh tires, and watch how he closes up on the back of Tracy Leslie in the Detroit gasket car.
High above, Leslie's the red car. Porter behind him is the white car. 2 laps to go, and now Porter comes down out of turn 4 across the start-finish line. Let's see if he can get him headed into turn 1.
This is a race for 3rd place because our leader, Harry Gant, he's in another world. And watch as Porter goes on the outside. He's going to take that spot away, Brett.
The tires right now are starting to show up. The tires that they changed on that last car. And car is definitely handling better through the middle. Tracy Leslie has better straightaway speed, but it looks like Randy can hang on that outside a little bit better grip.
White flag this time by. Now, Gant has already taken the white flag. You're watching a battle for 3rd position. Final lap. Detroit gasket car. Tracy Leslie as they are door to door in contact in turn 1. Whoa, Leslie hangs on it. Now here comes Terry Labonte, who will take the spot away. He takes 4th. Leslie is 5th. And it's 3rd, 4th, and 5th you're watching there. Meanwhile, Harry Gant is less than a quarter mile away from getting his first win in over a year. In fact, almost 2 years. 23 months ago, Gant went to victory lane, and he does it for the first time in 1994. Manheim Auction Chevrolet takes the victory. Ed Whitaker's car What a great finish. And Brett, I know you got to run and then go get in your Winston Cup car. Thanks for joining us up here today and being a part of this great Busch Series show.
I had a great time, guys. This replay of the past.
Tracy Leslie and Randy Porter go down to the corner and watch as Tracy goes up the racetrack just a little bit. Just touches the left rear, tries to get the car off of Porter's. Tracy almost spun himself out trying to keep from spinning Randy Porter out. And here comes Terry Labonte.
Terry had the momentum build up. Tracy doing all he could to get his car under control. Almost made contact there, exiting the second turn.
Brent, thanks so much, buddy. Good luck tomorrow.
I appreciate it, guys. Ned, get better. Get back here next time.
We'll hear from Harry Gant at Victory Lane when we come back to Atlanta Motor Speedway after this.
For a small-town feeling and big-time savings, visit the unique shops nestled in Acton's Santiago Square. Madeline's Family Restaurant has become a favorite meeting place for Valley commuters. Whether it's a delicious filling breakfast, or a light lunch, or a full-course dinner, you'll taste the homemade goodness at Madeline's Family Restaurant. One of the many great reasons to experience Santiago Square. Take the Santiago Road exit on the 14 freeway in nearby Acton, Santiago Square.
Remember when you were a child? Everything seemed to be so simple then. With each day that passes, our world becomes more complex. The pressures from work, school, and society can lead to emotional distress and problems with drugs and alcohol. The Behavioral Health Center at Palmdale Hospital is where life comes back into focus. From the challenges of facing life's problems one day at a time, the Behavioral Health Center will help you adjust with care to a changing world.
The Behavioral Health Center at Palmdale Hospital. Call us.
Is the award-winning Goodyear AquaTread with its deep groove aqua channel. And this is the new Eagle AquaTread for performance sedans. A wider performance tire with 2 aqua channels to sweep water away. Now you get the wet traction of a Goodyear AquaTread and the performance of a Goodyear Eagle. One good turn deserves another. The new Eagle AquaTread, only from Goodyear. We say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, a big smile from Harry Gant. And what a job he has done here at this race. It's an unbelievable finish for Harry Gant to be able to get a win here, the first one in 1994. Let's go down to John Kernan.
Well, victorious Harry Gant getting congratulations from everyone. Bob Newton in, of course, the Hoosier tire today. And Harry, the car just looked absolutely perfect.
It sure did. You know, the Mannheim Chevrolet, Ed Whitaker, and the boys up there in Bristol prepared. I couldn't believe it was that good today. You just rode around and, you know, it just sort of turned itself. The only car, you know, that really would give me trouble was Mark. But he and I was the same, you know. I mean, I let him lead there. I was sitting behind him right there, you know, and I knew my tires would go a little longer. But that was the only car that I think could really run with this one today.
You know, on the farewell tour this year, and you've had a few disappointments, but this has got to really make you feel good, right?
This has got to be good. You know, the biggest thrill, the biggest thing I hope for every year is to get our sponsor in Victory Lane. Got our new sponsor, Mannheim. And boy, I sure wanted to get them a Victory Lane badge. You know, we had some good runs with the car, and they come in here today. I think it's the first time Mannheim's been in Victory Lane, and the Hoosiers just done a super good job today for us.
How encouraging is this as far as going tomorrow? I mean, this is always seems to be a really great track for you.
Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. You know, we hope so. We got a good running car tomorrow, the Scobanny Chevrolet, and you know, we just hope that we'll have a good luck tomorrow as we had today.
All right, here again, congratulations for the win, Jerry.
And they're celebrating in our split fire winner's circle down there. Harry gets a big hug from the folks down there at Mannheim Auction, and Peggy, his wife, as they celebrate Harry's 21st career Busch Grand National Series victory here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Back in
my truck has 99,000 miles on it, and it's like a brand new engine.
America is talking about split fire.
I feel like I have a new engine.
No hesitation. You hit your passing gear, you're gone. Right now.
Split fire won a United States patent. It doesn't look like any other spark plug. It doesn't work like any other spark plug.
I love them.
I have them on my motorcycle, my boat, and my car.
Love them. Love them.
Split Fire at $5.99. America knows it only costs more till you use it.
I can say I've saved at least $3 to $4 a week.
Probably getting, I would say about 20 miles more per tank full, and that's a lot for me.
They'll pay for themselves basically in the first 6 months you own them.
Split Fire. It only costs more till you use it. Here's another Split Fire breakthrough. Twin-core wire sets with a dual firing path to every plug. More power and more mileage or your money back.
Napa, we're the most complete source for auto parts, and all Napa parts are backed by a nationwide warranty program. No wonder more Americans trust Napa to keep their vehicles running.
Introducing the new Goodyear Eagle AquaTread for performance sedans. The wet traction of an AquaTread, the performance of an Eagle. 2 aqua channels maximize acceleration, cornering, and braking traction. The new Eagle AquaTread, only from Goodyear.
Until now, only one species commanded the water with such speed, agility, and style. The 1994 line of Sea-Doo watercraft. So advanced, they're evolutionary.
Everybody's doing it.
Now when you buy a case of quality Valvoline motor oil, you can send away for a Valvoline t-shirt.
Honey, can you pick up some milk?
Okay. And become a member of the Valvoline Performance Team. Join the Valvoline Performance Team, and you'll feel like you're right in the middle of the action. So buy a case and get a shirt, plus great deals on Valvoline racing gear and a lot more.
Honey, did you get the milk?
People who know use Valvoline.
Today's Speed World coverage being brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by Allied Signals Fram filters. You can pay a little now or a lot later. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, crowd filing out after a great afternoon. Beautiful day for racing here. Celebration continues down there with Harry Gant becoming once again a record rider here in the books at 54 years of age, winning, going to victory lane. A little controversy earlier today involving a couple of drivers, and John Kerning is standing by with one of them.
Well, Mike Wallace involved in that first lap crash. We've already heard that Shauna and Joe kind of say it's your fault. Do you have any thing to say about that?
Well, I don't know how anybody can figure it's my fault. I wasn't involved in the wreck. I didn't touch nobody. You know, I led the first lap of the race. I mean, yet that I know if there's anything wrong with doing that. If you look at the right side of my car, it's perfect. I believe you look at the left side of the pole car, it's perfect. It appears the right side's tore up. I mean, I don't know what anybody's blaming me for. I mean, we've seen this happen numerous times. Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace goes for the lead on the first lap, and they're heroes. All of a sudden, I've done it. And, you know, sometimes you got to use a little common sense between your foot and your brain to say lift if I'm in a bad situation. It appears somebody didn't lift that got in a bad situation and wanted to blame it on me. I didn't do anything wrong. I led the first lap of the race. I didn't touch anybody, so I don't know what the statements are, what the comments are. That was a race, and that was it.
Okay, I'll let you, on one comment, I believe it was one of the drivers, I believe it was Shauna, said that you had made the statement that you were going to try and get her loose and try and get by her, or maybe it was Joe who said it. They both had made mention of that you had plans to do that. Did you make those statements?
Let me tell you, John, that is the silliest statement anybody in the world could ever make. I've wrecked here. I know how hard it hurts to wreck. If I would have did that, she could have wrecked in front of me. Joe could have wrecked in front of me. You know, that's normally called laying the guilt on somebody else, the blame on somebody else. Joe's been around. Shauna's been around. I was on the bottom. I stayed on the bottom of the racetrack. And I think they're crying the blues for something that might have been their fault, not mine, and I'm the only scapegoat because those two were out of the race and I was still racing. It's easy to criticize somebody for something that you might have something to do with, and you can get out and walk away before the blame is placed. I didn't do anything wrong. I ran a good race. You know, we had problems at the end of the race. The Duron paints FTP Brakes car had an oil leak. We were courteous enough to the other competitors to get to the bottom of the racetrack, try to finish it. So basically, I think they're upset because of a decision they did wrong in the race car. I was in that same predicament 2 weeks ago at Rockingham. We run 3 wide down in the corner. I lifted. I was in the center. I wasn't going to cause a wreck. It backed me up 3 spots on the final lap. That's where I used my sense. That's my comment.
Well, that's the words from Michael Walter, or Mike Wallace. I'm sorry, Mike. Some of us little tense down here, Jerry, as you might imagine.
Well, Mike coming out to talk to us now. You've heard from all 3 principals involved in that first lap incident. Here's taking a look at the official finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Benny Parsons, I like being able to hear from all 3 people. We heard from Joe Nemechek, we heard from Shauna Robinson, and Mike Wallace had his opinion.
Well, of course, and they're all 3 got different opinions. It's 2-1, obviously. But people, you watch the video. Hey, you know what you saw?
You make the call.
You make the call.
A great afternoon of racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 43 cars started. What a great run for the car number 92, who started dead last and finished in 2nd spot, Larry Pearson. Take a look at the point standings here. Terry Labonte, Harry Gant, Hermie Sadler holds on the 3rd spot, Kenny Wallace is 4th, and Chad Little is 5th. Once again, for Benny Parsons, Brett Bodine, John Kernan, and Kyle Petty, I'm Jerry Punch, congratulating Harry Gant for his win and saying so long from Atlanta Motor Speedway.